Beverly. So let's talk about this episode. I'm not getting into the last episode because it's just, they're starting to give me Real Housewives of Atlanta with one storyline that is dominating this season, and it's not really important. You know what I mean? Like, I'm an animal lover, right? But this season has been dogs, and more dogs. I'm like, is this Animal Planet or is this Bravo? It's too much dog. It's especially too much dog when Dorit is getting confronted in Bermuda by some lady that she embezzled money from. When Erica Jane and her husband are being taken to court for almost a $500,000 bank fraud. Like, what? This is the stuff that we need to be talking about. Why are we talking about these damn dogs? I'm over it. I'm over it. The last episode I watched, I was just like, the most important thing that happened on that entire episode was St. Denise getting married. You know what I mean? And that husband is something special. Anyway, since we're here talking about St. Denise, beloved, what in the Joker is happening here? Sis, you are fine. Do not buy into this Hollywood stereotype where you have to stay young. It's impossible. It's not going to happen, especially when you have not had a history of moisturizing. This is what happens, Caucasians. You got to start moisturizing from birth. You got to moisturize. You got to put that sunblock on your skin because, unfortunately, you don't have melanin. So when you don't have melanin, the sun goes straight to that skin and it just eats it up. So you start to age a little bit quicker. That's what's happening, St. Denise. Let it go. You are still by far the most snatched out of all these housewives. But all this stuff that you're doing, sis, you don't need it. It's getting scary. It's getting scary. Also, St. Denise, you're too good for this show. You are. I'm watching her in her scenes and I'm just like, oh, you're not about that life. You know what I mean? You come from something, right? And not saying that these housewives don't come from anything, but a lot of times when people come on the show, it's because they faded. Like, what star that they had back in the day is gone, and now they're trying to get it back. This show is really great for Lisa Rinna because she's always hawking something, and she has this kind of, no shade, kind of like B-list celebrity status out here in Hollywood. So she fits right in, no shade, with C-list celebrities of reality TV. So it works for her, but it's like, Denise, I don't know. I just feel like just watching her in these scenes and watching how she interacts, it's just like messy and cattiness is not in her. Maybe younger Denise, wild things Denise, but this is a different Denise. This is Saint Denise. This is the one who takes in children who are suffering even when they're not hers. Not too long ago, she had custody over Charlie Sheen's kids because him and his wife was cracked out at the time and they couldn't take care of them babies. She was taking care of them, didn't want anything from that dude before them boys to be healthy. You know what I mean? Like, this is who she is. That's not good for reality TV. This is gutter, sis. This is gutter TV. This is train wreck TV. If you are not trying to put all your business out here on the street, if you are not trying to break a glass off in Paris or Amsterdam and almost gut another housewife like a fish, this show ain't for you. And I just don't see her getting to that. Like, this, it's been several episodes and she's just, it's not in her. It's not in her. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I think this is going to be her first and last season. And it's okay, sis. It's okay if you don't fit in this world. It is okay. Let's get into these damn dogs. This housewife franchise, Beverly Hills specifically, is obsessed with Radar Online. New York is obsessed with the New York Post and the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Any ghetto gossip site like the Shade Room or whatever, any one of those. They're not going to go on like Oprah.com and read an article about themselves. They're going to go to the Shade Room. They're going to go to MediaTakeout.com. They're going to go to Baller Alert, all of those places because they want to get the shade and the mess and the nastiness. That's where they go to get all the gossip about them. But this franchise in particular is obsessed with Radar Online. And it's hilarious to me because Radar Online is like a child gossip site. What in the hell is your old behind doing on Radar Online? Lisa, why are you selling them stories? Like, Radar Online, their fan base is like Justin Bieber fans. It's freaking kids. Why are you even in that same kind of category? I feel like their category for gossip is the National Enquirer. Y'all do not need to be on Radar Online. It's so weird that they even have relationships with those gossip sites. I just don't see that community wanting to know about Lisa Vanderpump and dogs. It don't match up to me, but apparently they eat it up. I will say this about Teddy. It's really big of her to still support Lisa even when they're beefing. Like, to have that whole event to raise money for your freaking organization and Lisa don't show up because they got beef. Teddy, you better than me, sis. You better better than me, because if Lisa would not have showed up to my event, I would have been like, unfortunately, guys, Lisa Vanderpump can't make it. So I'm not raising no money for her damn dogs, okay? So let's shut this whole thing down and let's go get some pasta afterwards. Because I love me a pasta after a hard workout. I always get some pasta. I know it's the feet and the purpose, but I crave pasta after a hard workout. But I would have definitely went to Dan Tana's right after I had that little posh spin session with Teddy. If y'all don't know about Dan Tana's, listen, look it up. Look it up. The best Italian food out here. And it's really hard to find Italian food in LA. I don't know what the problem is. I mean, we have Italian people out here, but it's something about them East Coast Italians. They know how to make some food. Something happens with their seasonings when they come to the West Coast. I don't know. But Dan Tana's, they about that life, and I love it. You know what? How people use their power and their privilege is their business, right? However, as somebody who comes from a disadvantaged community, it just bothers me the levels that Lisa Vanderpump will go to for like animals. And I'm not an animal hater. Like, I love dogs, right? I love cats. My favorite animal is a Siberian tiger. I don't know. I love me a Siberian tiger, but I'm the type of animal lover that loves animals in their own environment. I don't love you enough to live with me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever want to house an animal. The only animal I ever want to live with is my husband, okay? That's it for me. That's the only animal in my house. That's all I want, right? Not against animals at all. I wouldn't be living in LA if I was, because you cannot dislike animals, especially dogs, and live in Los Angeles. They have made this place so dog friendly. It's like you will be at a restaurant and a person will bring in a freaking dog the size of Cujo, and they will bring out a bowl and sit it at the table, and that dog will eat off of the dinnerware. This is LA. So you got to be used to that, right? I ain't against that. But the fact that Lisa Vanderpump used her power and her privilege to stop the trading of dog meat in China, I didn't even finish what that whole thing was about. But the fact that she even used her privilege to take it to the freaking Capitol for it to get voted on in the House. What? Guys, literally, where all three of her restaurants or bars or whatever, where they're located, there are homeless people on that strip. There are homeless people right around the block. You can step outside of your little posh restaurants and see suffering, and you do nothing. You love the gay community so much because you got that restaurant pump right there. You're sitting on the parades. You're doing whatever you can. You love them so much. Lisa, what have you done really? Can we really talk about that? Because Lisa Vanderpump, she just gets all of these awards. Serious. What has Lisa Vanderpump done for the LGBT community? I really don't know what it is. But from watching Vanderpump Rules and this show, it just seems like she sits on top of a float at Pride, and that's about it. You know what I mean? And she just says that she loves gay people. But I'm just like, have you done as much for the LGBT community who feeds your family? Because they feed you, sis. Who feeds your family that you have done for these dogs that you just like to pass around as accessories? Like, what is it? And again, it's her power, her privilege. She can do whatever she wants. But as somebody who comes from a disadvantaged community, it just walks up my back. Especially with the fact that she like tries to pride herself as this huge ally to the LGBT community. I'm like, have you taken any laws to the House for the LGBTQ community? Like, have you done that? I'm just asking questions. Gosh, that just really got to me. It's just like, you're freaking workers in your own restaurant. Many of your restaurants could get picked up by ICE and disappear, and nothing will be done. And you are using your power and your privilege to combat China over dog meat. Guys, listen, I'm not even a vegan, but I feel like if you want to stop just one form of meat from being consumed by humans, you need to do that all across the board. If you feel that way about dog meat, why are you serving steaks and fish and any kind of life being cut up and tortured and ate in your restaurant? You don't feel that same way about that filet that you feel about dog meat? Because it's also, I don't like, it's also giving me some colonizer tease where it's just like, because people who you don't think are equal to you are doing something that you don't like, you feel like you got the power to go over there and tell them to stop it. I don't know. I don't like it. It's fishy, guys. It's fishy. It's giving me too much. I'm reading a lot into it, and it's just hitting me in several different ways. I feel for you this season, Lisa, but maybe the drogation is worth it. Wait, so let's get into this messy brunch. So after Teddy's event for Vanderpump Dogs that Lisa never showed up to, she sent a chick that Teddy had never even seen, okay? Probably some extra that she hired. Anyway, so after that event, all the ladies went out to brunch. But they didn't know that Lisa Vanderpump was having another event that she only invited Kyle to. Big mouth Kyle gonna tell the girls. Let me tell you something. Kyle is not innocent. I do not think that Kyle is so oblivious. You know what I mean? I think she knows exactly what she's doing. I think she knows how to craft these storylines. And so I think she knew that none of the other ladies were invited. She knew that she was the only one. So she knew that when she brought this up, it would send several daggers all across the table to all these different women from Lisa. She knew what she was doing. Kyle is messy too. So anyway, she mentions that, and the ladies just like, oh, she's having something else. She couldn't even stop by Teddy's thing. Rightfully so. They are rightfully outraged, as they should be. Then we get into Dorit, who starts crying about the harassment that she's receiving from dog lovers. I will say this, when Dorit first started crying, I just rolled my eyes. I was like, girl, grow up. You know what I mean? However, I had to stop and think about it, especially living out here. It is, real talk, extremely dangerous to be anti-dog in LA. These people are not well. There are a lot of dog lovers who are not well. So I believe that she's getting harassed. I believe that people are saying horrible things about her children. I believe that they are saying that her child deserved to get bit, that PK deserved to get bit. I believe that they are probably sending stuff to her home. I believe that she doesn't feel safe. I believe it, guys. I believe it. Los Angeles is not a place to be if you don't like dogs. You don't even talk about not liking dogs out here, because something will happen to you. These people are nuts. They do not play about their dogs. Now, you can kill people all day long, especially if they Black, Mexican, or a woman. You can do that in LA. But you kill a dog, you harm a dog, you send a dog to a kill shelter, your days are numbered. Stay well. You know what? I love Harry. I love Harry and Lisa Rinna. I love their relationship. I love how Harry, he's not like a messy husband. He'll stop by every once in a while and just pop up in a scene. But when he pops up in a scene, he gives so much thought and wisdom on the subject, and then he just disappears. You just don't see him again. Because this whole comment about Lisa Vanderpump using this propaganda to drive this train against Dorit, I believed it. I believe that Lisa was selling stories to Radar Online about Dorit. I believe that she was using this because she felt like Dorit harmed an animal or harmed dogs, something that she's really cares strongly about. But because she's her friend, she didn't have the cojones to say it to her. So she came at her in a way that was vicious enough for her hands to be off of it, but also enough for it to hurt Dorit, where she felt like she will learn a lesson. That's cutthroat. And I do agree with what Harry is saying, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Like, you'd never like to hear negative things about people who are your favorites. Like, Lisa Vanderpump is my favorite, but Lisa Vandertrump, okay? But she being messy. She being messy. You know what I mean? And it's just like, sis, you got caught. And unfortunately, you got caught during a time where you were going through the most. However, how are you going through all of this and you still find time to be this messy? Sis, get that looked at. Get that checked out. That's not cute at all. Okay, and can we talk about these Snapchat filters that they are using on these Housewives confessionals? It's a lot. It really is, because it's to the point where they are so blurred now. You can't even really make out who it is, because Kyle's confessional, she's pushed so far back into the background. She's like in the background in the corner in her confessional shot. And I'm like, guys, it's okay to age. It is okay to age. Every year that you make it, it is to be celebrated. Every wrinkle is earned, baby. It's life. It's life, and it's a life that you are living, and you should be happy, because so many people do not make it, especially in America. The stuff they put in our foods, we can die from a burger, we can die from a gunshot. Like, all of this stuff is very current for us. Like, it's not safe. You know what I mean? No matter where you're at this point, no matter what community you are in, it is not safe, you know? So I hate that they don't like to age. I hate that this town is so freaking superficial, only on women, that the women on the show are like getting these freaking filters now put on their faces so they don't look like their age, or they don't look like who they really are, because they look visibly different in their scenes than they do in the confessionals. And it is not just makeup, guys. It's lighting, it's the filming, it's also the editing, because what they are using, I forgot the name of it, but there's a filter that Hollywood is starting to use now on TV and especially in film to make actors and actresses look younger than how they really appear. How I know is because this filter was talked about in a Variety article, because it was used in a very successful movie on a few actresses that I stand for. So I'm not going to expose the film, because I don't want to expose them, because although they're great talents, they probably fell to the ideas that they have to look younger, especially as women, because that's the mentality in Hollywood, and I hate that, right? So you will recognize this filter being used in editing. It basically is like a Snapchat filter. It just smooths out everything to the point where you don't even look human. You look robotic. That's why I love Snapchat filters, because I feel like I'm a unicorn. You know what I mean? I'm a unicorn, I'm a fairy, Fern Gully and all that stuff. I grew up on that. That's what I love. So I like when I look like a fairy or a unicorn. Like, if you notice, if you follow me on Instagram, you see one of my favorite filters that I use. It gives me like fairy eyebrows and fairy lashes. And I look like a character. And I love that, right? I'm not using it because I don't want to age or I feel some sort of way, but I feel like if I live out here long enough, that will happen to me. That is exactly why when I get my coin and I get myself established, I'm out. I am not raising a child here. I am not doing anything of that nature. You know what I mean? As soon as I get a good coin, I'm taking my behind back to the East Coast where this does not matter. Okay. Even though I love it and I thank LA for all the opportunities that this city has given me in this industry, it is not a healthy environment to live in. Okay? Y'all know that I used to teach musical theater to Portia when she was a lot younger, and I'm telling you, I love that kid. I love that kid. She was so hilarious, so sweet. But she was an LA baby. She would come to rehearsal Gucci down to the point where she would not even sit on the ground. I remember one time she came in with a Prada purse, Gucci down, and how I knew she was Gucci down, because she told me, okay? When she had to sit on the ground with the other kids, she was just like, oh, do I really have to sit on the floor? This is Gucci. I was like, Portia, have a seat. Have a seat. Such an adorable kid, but she was so Hollywood, and I was just like, oh, I don't want that for my children at all. East Coast it is. I can raise sane, sensible children, and I can age without a problem. That's why Sarah Jessica Parker looks totally different than all these other Hollywood actresses. She allows herself to age. She lives in New York City. Nobody really cares about that. But in LA, baby, you have to look 14 forever. So this filter that they are using, it's so sad because their features are so blurred out. You don't even know who you're looking at. Like, Cal looks like an anime character in her confessional. And I'm just like, guys, age gracefully, do it well, leave your face alone, and we will still stand. Now let's get to Goodbye Cal. So Cal comes over to Lisa's home, Villa Rosa, to talk to her about her selling stories to Radar Online, that selling stories that harm Dorit, period. Like, that's the truth. Like, I do believe that Dorit was getting all those death threats and all that stuff. Let me tell you something. Until I experienced it myself, I didn't think that it was a big deal. I was just like, oh, these celebrities are making a big deal. People in the public eye are making a big deal about these threats. But one of the reasons why I removed my P.O. box and I stopped giving out my location is because someone from YouTube sent me like racist hate mail. And I had never in my life experienced something like that. And when I did, I was just like, you know what? The numbers are growing here. Thank you, Jesus. More people are putting their eyes on me. I appreciate it. I love that this community is growing. But with every growth comes some darkness. You know what I mean? And I remember one time I did a live. That was one of the reasons why I stopped doing a live. The equipment as well. But I was kind of shaken by that. I started getting like, racists would start commenting on the lives, and just a lot of people were really great about reporting that person or those people, but it was just like, it was a shock, you know what I mean? So I can understand what she was going through. So I do really believe that she was visibly shaken by what was happening to her from Lisa planning that story. So anyway, Lisa's on cloud nine, and Kyle comes over, and she is so happy to celebrate with her friend because she just got a huge victory for a dog meat or whatever. And I still don't know what it is. I'm just pissed about it. So she's like hugging Kyle. She wants to celebrate. And Kyle wants to get right down to the nitty gritty. Because what I think has happened at this lunch or this brunch is that Kyle realized she couldn't defend Lisa anymore. I also think that she didn't want to defend Lisa anymore. I think she was trying to teach Lisa a lesson, because last season, Kyle's biggest issue was that Lisa was so obsessed and in love with Dorit and that she didn't treat her the same way. So now Kyle is like, this is what it's like when you don't have me in your corner. So I think she went over there to do that as well, to maybe dig it in at her, that she's doing all this to come after Dorit, who was her sister or whatever. And now nobody is in her corner where I would have been in your corner, but because you treated me like a second-rate friend and treated her like a first-rate friend, you've lost your footing with me. But it backfired because I don't think Kyle expected Lisa or Ken to gang up on her the way that they did. And in saying that, Kyle, how the hell did you think that Lisa was going to receive what you said to her? Like Kyle says to Lisa, oh, I believe that, the girls believe that you are selling stories to Radar Online about Dorit, and I believe it too. Why don't you just admit to them that you're doing this and tell them? This is where Kyle messed up. She said this to Lisa on camera. Why, if you're her friend, because Kyle the whole time is saying that she's going to say this to Lisa because she's her friend, she should bring this information to her. Why would you do it on camera if that's your friend? You're being messy, Kyle. You're also giving storyline. I'm not hating on that, but let's tell the truth and shame the devil. You're not doing this because you love Lisa and you love Ken and you care about her. You're doing this. You're taking the cameras to expose a cast member because this is storyline. Period. Just tell the truth. And also, you want to get at her because you did not feel like she had your back last season. Come on, Kyle. This is my only thing with Kyle. She tries to play innocent, but she's not. Kyle is just as messy as Lisa. She's just better at hiding it than anybody else. She is so good at hiding behind being innocent and vulnerable and not knowing what's going on and oblivious. No, Kyle, you messy sis, because you came there to expose Lisa and you didn't think that her little chihuahua of a husband was going to be there to protect her, because Ken went right after Kyle as soon as he started hearing everything that Kyle was saying. And what I didn't like, and this is Ken's problem, he continues to come for women. And I think it's because Ken is small and unassuming and nobody's really afraid of him. He's not intimidating. I think people let him, and he's older, you know what I mean? So I think people let him disrespect women because it's just like, oh, it's Ken. It's not okay. It's not okay. And I honestly think that Maurizio and Ken probably have beef because of this encounter. Because the way that Ken was talking to Kyle was very disrespectful. He got her face to the point where she had to lean back. So you should never be that close. You should never be that close. You should never be yapping and yelling at a woman that is not your wife. You should be yelling at a woman, period. But this is somebody else's wife and you're getting her face. She has a visibly bigger husband, okay? Who can like squash you if he wanted to. So what are you doing? What are you? He was just so disrespectful. And I was just like, Kyle, this is not okay. It's not okay. And Lisa, I get that you didn't like what Kyle said, but you should have got your husband. Because what he did was wrong. He should not have been talking to your friend like that. Especially on camera. It should have never been caught because he ended up looking really bad. Even though he was trying to defend you with that dead dog. Because I guarantee you that dog is dead. That dog is either dead or dying. Okay? Because that dog looks so miserable. Every day he wakes up in Villa Rosa, he just wants to commit suicide. He's always looks like, God, when is it going to be my turn? I'm ready. That dog hates it. He hates living. He is old and he is ready to go. But anyway, he's holding this dog and shaking this near-death dog at Kyle. And then Lisa is yelling at her and running back. And then they kick Kyle out of their house several times. I was dying at that. They kept on kicking Kyle out and Kyle wouldn't leave. I was like, Kyle, they kicked you out, sis. Why are you still there? They kicked her out several times. And she was just hanging at the door like, just listening to them drag her for filth. But anyway, that's where it ended. It ended on a to be continued. And this episode gave me something, right? It gave me something towards the end. I feel like we are too early in this season to be having filler episodes. I really, really do. But it gave me something. I'm hoping it doesn't go the road of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, because this was a very promising show, but I'm feeling like it's starting to fall off because I'm not as excited to review it as I am for the Real Housewives of New York, or as I am for Potomac, because Potomac is coming back and that trailer looks so good. But unfortunately for Beverly Hills, they've already beat this dog storyline to death where it's just not interesting. We're over it. We need something else, especially when there are so many other juicy things happening in the ladies' lives that we're not getting. You know, we're getting it on the gossip blogs. We're getting it in the news. We're getting it from their own Instagrams, but we're not getting it on the show. When your storyline is greater online on your own Instagram page than it is on the show, that's not a good sign. So I'm hoping they can turn it around and it can get better. We will see. Either way, I will be here to review it. Thank you so much for stopping by NikkiStar TV. And if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Also hit that notification bell. I'm going to do my best to stay current and consistent with you guys. However, as you do know, mother is a working actress. I am trying to stay booked and busy because I need the coin, okay? I ain't Lupita Nyong'o. I'm not Oprah Winfrey. One day, keep on training, Nikki. Keep on training, Nikki. But what I'm saying is, when I get an opportunity to work, I got to take it. And sometimes the things that are near, dear, and precious to me, like YouTube, has to get put on the back burner. You are a priority. but I gotta go for my coins and I gotta go for my dream. Thank you so much for supporting me. I will see you soon for something else. I love you guys. Stay tuned.